Alrighty. Welcome, everybody, to the Best Self Blueprint, where the mission of this podcast really is to bring people on with the knowledge, experience, and insight as to what it takes to truly move the dial towards becoming a better version of yourself. So, this guest, I'm so excited to talk to this guest because of his consistency, not only in fitness, not only in health, but in just making sure that he's doing the things he needs to do while integrating things that he wants to do in order to accomplish those goals. So he is a college track and field athlete, a ninja warrior, and just an overall athletic force. After a serious injury his sophomore year, he reevaluated his life and decided to replace partying with progress, learning about health and fitness and what habits would serve him best. He's a he has a mindset around discipline that I think we'll all learn a lot from, and he has a pursuit of the things he's passionate about that I think we should all emulate. And this guest's name is none other than CJ Pfeil. How you doing, man?
Good, man. That was an awesome intro. Thank you.
Hey, you earned it. You lived it. So
Thanks, man.
obviously, just going through the intro, I think what most people would want to hear about first is like when that injury happened, describe kind of what your priorities were before it, what the injury was, and then just really how that put certain things into perspective.
Yeah, sure. I'll give a little timeline. So, like in high school, I was an athlete, and like I cared about athletics, but I cared about it like when I did it, not like outside of it. I was like, okay, I'm in the season now. I'm like going to practice. Like now I'll care, but then practice is over. Blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. Then I got to college, wasn't doing any sports, just kind of came, been a student, started partying, doing like normal college, just like having fun. Like this is my college. Like I didn't feel bad about it. It was like what I wanted to do at the time. And then my sophomore year playing flag football, I ended up getting like a pretty serious concussion. I like blacked out, still don't remember it to this day, like 15 minutes afterwards. And so after that, I was like, okay, like I'm taking care of my brain. And I was like, they like told me like I couldn't drink for like a month at least. And so after that happened, I was like, all right, like I'm taking this seriously. Like this is my brain. And I was kind of like, after like I went through that month and I didn't miss it at all. And like pretty much since then, I haven't drank at all. Like I've drank like one time in like the last like 2 years, 2.5 years now. Like literally since that happened, it was just like a switch. And it
And
was just kind of
how is
like,
that? Because I've taken time off of drinking. I know a lot of people who just don't drink at all. How did you notice? Did that affect like your daily energy or just how you felt on a daily basis when you cut it out completely?
yeah, definitely. It was like, it's something that you just get in a routine of doing it. So you're just in the routine. Then once you stop, you can like look back on and be like, yeah, like, I don't know if this affects my brain that much that I can't even do it, then why would I go back to it? It really like, it's something where it puts it like in your face. It's not like, oh yeah, I know it's bad for you, but like, I feel fine the next day. I might be hungover, but then I just do something and I'm fine. And it's like once you get a concussion, then it's like, all right, you can't do this. And it's just like it throws it in your face. Like it's like this is it.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people struggle with implementing different habits is because of the fact that it's not an imminent downside. Like
Exactly.
if you don't eat healthy, it's at least for people, especially our age, it's not like you're really overly worried about like a heart attack or clogged arteries or things like that. You're just thinking about like, okay, cool, maybe I'll like take a nap on the couch afterwards and I'll be fine. But
Yeah.
when it has that imminent threat of like, oh, something actually really bad is going to happen, that's where I like what you said. It kind of puts it right in your face. So
Yeah.
kind of tying off of that, going down the timeline. So you got the concussion, you shifted your mindset more towards like obviously like all encompassing. I just want to make some changes. That led to you trying out for a college track team. So how did that come about?
So like I don't when I would come home from school like over the summer, I would still like work out. I still worked out a lot. That was also the same summer where I started training for American Ninja Warrior. I just like wanted to do something. I was like I'd see it on TV and I didn't know that there was a gym like 30 minutes from me. So I was like, "Oh, I want to start trying that out." And then I would like play basketball and I would like jump a lot and I would like train, like I would like follow like jump programs. And one day I was like, "You know what? Like I want to like take the next step. Like, I just want to like try out for my college track team. I just like emailed the coach like one day in the middle of the summer. I was like, you know what? I want to do it. I just want to see if I could do it. And that was that.
So I think a good thing to talk about at this point is how did you have or how did you get the confidence? Like there were guys who were already a season in, they already were doing the specific training. You coming in a year late, what was your mindset around like did you feel you needed to catch up to people? Like what was your mindset just around training at that point?
So I would train, but I just wanted like a goal. So it's like it's easier to train when you're like, okay, I go to the gym a few times a week, and it's like, oh, you know what? I don't want to train today. I wanted something like, okay, I don't party, I don't drink anymore. Like, I need something to shoot for. Like, almost give me like an excuse not to, even though I didn't want to. It would just be easier to like, oh, I can't because I'm training. I'm trying to make the team. So like, it almost gave me an excuse, and it was like something that I was like, okay, I want a goal, and I just want to like challenge myself. I'm like, you know what? I want to go make this team. I felt like I had to make up time. So I felt like anything like drinking, it would like put me back. Like
Yeah.
I've already lost time. I need to make time up. I can't lose anymore.
Well, and that just takes such a level of self-awareness where it's very at least it sounds like you made it very black and white in your head of like you went through what you were currently doing throughout the day. You said, all right, one by one, is this serving me? Nope. All right, get rid of it. Is this and again, it doesn't have to be always productive things, but like is me sitting on the couch reading a book for an hour to relax? Is that serving me? Yeah, all right, keep it in. Is me sitting on the couch drinking, watching Netflix serving me? No, probably not. And so I think it's incredible you had that self-awareness at that age to just like take it thing by thing and just cross off all the unnecessary aspects.
Yeah, I don't know
Now,
how I kind of.
what was that?
I was just gonna say like how I work is like I just like flip a switch. I'm just like all in or like not in. So it's like if I know it's good for me, I'm going for it. I'm going all in.
So do you tie that to like you were talking about for like you want a goal to tie to why you're training? Did you have a goal like when you would flip the switch on something, would you attach that to a why? Or was it just as simple for you as like, I know it's not good, I'm not going to do it?
Yeah, basically just like for the anything like leading like towards the goal is would be my why. Like I can even if it's like long term, I can like attach it. I can like look at it and like yes or no and like not even have to like hesitate. Be like, nope. I'm like, yep or no.
Yeah, I think that's something a lot of people can take away is I think oftentimes people are in this continuous struggle of knowing what like what will get them to their goal. But it's, I think, the idea of would you rather have what you want now or what you want most? And unfortunately, I think a lot of people's brains talk a lot louder on the I want this now over I want this most. How do you think people can steer their internal dialogue towards the most as opposed to, but I really want to do this thing right now? How do people flip that?
Gotcha. I know one I looked at this quote from Will Smith and he said self discipline is the ultimate sign of self respect. And I always would think about that. I'm like, you know what? If I do this, it's not just doing it for the long term. It's also like showing myself that like, I can look long term. I can deny things I want right now. Not just doing it because you think it's going to pay off at the end, but also proving to yourself that like you have the capability of making those decisions.
Yeah, and when you put it in the perspective of if your friend were to just give you control over their life and say like I want to be healthy, I want to be happy, I want to be fulfilled, you would have no problem saying, all right, you got to eat this, you got to do this workout, you got to read these books, you got to talk to these people. And it's like boom, 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 it's no problem. And so I think you have to almost think of yourself and split yourself into the person coaching and the person being coached to where you say like I like what Will Smith talks about. I've seen that quote where he says, I know you want that pizza. I know it'll taste good right
Yeah.
now, but I love you too much to let you do that to yourself. And so I think that's just a powerful tool people can use is if they're really struggling with a decision like that, split yourself almost into two people so that you can be the coach and the player and almost detach that emotional attachment to the pizza or the video games or, fill in the blank.
Yeah. And like be confident and like feel good about your decision. Like, oh yeah, I turned down the pizza. Yeah, hopefully I'll feel better. Be like, no, I'm proud of myself for not eating that pizza. Whether it might pay off or not, I don't know, but I'm proud that I made the decision not to do it.
Yeah,
Feel good
so
about it.
absolutely. And I think that's a huge part of it is it gains momentum. The more things you can implement that attitude towards, the more momentum you're going to get going into the next decision. So what habits, because it sounds like you did this and you really dove into really each kind of part of your day and each part of your life. What other habits do you implement on a daily basis that you feel, again, just flipping that switch of this is going to serve me, so I do this every day?
Yeah, so I could say like one of the things where even goes with like flipping the switch is like I decided to go vegan like a year ago, and it was like boom, cold turkey. Like I just decided, and I had like looked some stuff up and watched some stuff, and I decided I wanted to like try it for myself. And I like initially I gave myself like 6 weeks. I was like, all right, 6 weeks, I'm gonna do this and like see how I feel, because it was 6 weeks until I had my first track meet last season. And I was like, all right, I've been performing good. I want to see like in 6 weeks if I am better, then I'm going to stick with it, and if not, then I won't stick with it. And it was just like cold turkey, just went for it, and then I stayed. It worked. I stayed vegan for about 8 months, and then I've kind of like added eggs and fish back into my diet. But like that would be like another example of how I attacked that.
Yeah, it's crazy to me because with most people or with most clients of mine, I should say, when they're trying to implement a new habit or a lifestyle change, I'll often talk about like doing it like slowly so that way you can really like, dip your feet in the pool. And if it's a little cold, you slowly walk your way in until you're comfortable with it. But it's really impressive that you have, again, just that self awareness and you have that. I almost want to call it like a killer instinct to just, you see something that you know is good, you see why you should do it, and it's just boom, jumping right into the deep end. I think that's something a lot of people can learn from is it may not be easy. I get that, but it is very simple. And so just being able to differentiate the two, the decision to get up 30 minutes earlier and get a workout in or get, a meditation in or get education in, it's not easy. Obviously, laying in a nice, warm, comfy bed is going to be better, but it's simple. It's a simple switch. And so I'm glad you brought that up because I think that'll serve a lot of people. Now, what do you recommend for someone? Because again, like I said, there are a lot of people who simply don't have that mental callousing yet to flip the switch and just completely go right into it. What advice do you have for people who are trying to make these changes, but who just can't seem to just flip the switch?
No, I'll tell like my friends. I'll be like, just like who like they saw I like went vegan, and they're like, dude, I just like can't. Like there's no way I could just like do that. I'm just like days of the week or like 3 times, 4 times, like when you sit down and watch football, you always have wings, like still do that. But then maybe on Monday, like change your diet on Monday and Wednesday and Friday, or like, like pick days and just make sure you have a plan, like plan things ahead of time. And I think it's really a lot easier if you have give yourself a plan and be able to attack it through that, because I know not everybody can just like flip the switch. And also, I always like tell myself it takes 21 days to make a habit. So whether I've seen that before, I don't know if that's really true or not, but I think if you believe it's true, it'll work for you. Like, yeah, first week might be rough, second week might be rough, but when you're done with 3 weeks, it's kind of like a part of who you are, and then you can just kind of roll with it after that.
Yeah, so in taking it even a step further, so I completely agree with having a plan, But I think part of that plan is anticipating what's going to trip you up when you try to execute, and how are you going to handle that. So like you were talking about, let's say someone really does want to just completely go vegetarian, vegan, keto, carnivore, I mean, you name it.
Whatever. Yeah.
And they have, especially right now, you have holiday parties, you got New Year's parties, you got all these different things where there's going to be those triggers of, okay, when I go to great Aunt Peggy's house, she's going to have meat, she's going to have bread, she's going to have all these things. Put yourself into that situation and think about, okay, how can I actually get away from that trigger, or how can I just reroute that automatic trigger. And a big part of that is having other people in your corner. So I think when you were talking about your friends came and talked to you about it, a big part of that is go to someone you trust to actually hold you accountable, who's not just going to, flop over and let you do it, but really hold you accountable and say, hey, for the month of December, I want to eat no bread. And then have them, like, every few days check in, like, did you have any bread? If you did, like, come up with either a consequence or like something. Just anticipate when it's about to go wrong in that crucial moment. Then how do I plan for that?
Yeah, you have to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like set an honest goal, honest plan.
Yeah. So having benchmarks is a big part of it, where if the bigger the goal, especially if you have some crazy goal, kind of break it down, reverse engineer it so that you can get to a point where, yeah, it's like a nice bite-sized chunk. You can feel good that you got that part of it done, and then just keep kind of rolling through. Now, to pivot a little bit, I want to go from, I mean, we hammered like how to switch habits, we hammered how to put things into perspective. But one thing that I absolutely love about the way you approach these healthy habits is it correlates with a term I called get creatively disciplined. So by that, I mean, have the discipline to know the things you need to do to be successful and live a good life, but get creative in approaching those tasks in a way that you find enjoyable and that you can be filled with passion while you're doing it. So how do you do that with, like, with your fitness? You always seem to be having fun with your nutrition. You are always posting meals that look way better than mine. With all these things, you seem to have so much fun with it. How did you get that perspective?
Well, I think like with my posting, like I love jumping, like that's my thing. Like I got in track and field because I like jumping. I just do jumps in track and field. I like dunking. So like finding a passion and a goal that like excites you and like you want to have fun with, obviously that makes everything easier too. And surround yourself with people around you. I know, like, I didn't say when I went vegan, but my mom and my girlfriend started with me also at the same time. So that was easy. And basically, I don't know. I don't really know how to say have fun with it. I think you just kind of like just find the goal that you know you will be able to have fun with it. Like, don't force something upon yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think with that, especially, I keep going back to fitness. I think that's just because, that's kind of my area of expertise, but I have so many people who were clients and they try to just do the very rigid, like, I'm going to do my weightlifting, I'm going to do my cardio, I'm going to do my core, and that's it. But then you talk to those people about, like, well, what do you like to do in terms of movement? They're like, oh, well, I like playing basketball. It's like, you weren't playing any basketball, though. All you were doing were the things you didn't enjoy doing. And so I think that's something to keep in the back of your mind for people who are looking to make a change. Find something that you can tether to that change that's really fun for you, because then it's not going to require all that activation energy to do it. You're going to want to do it.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. It's always easier to be working for something too. So I mean, I always tell people that like just go to the gym and it's like, well, I don't know, maybe I'll skip today, maybe I'll skip the time. I'm like, have a goal, like work towards something. It can be lame to other people, but as long as it's your goal and like it excites you, it will make everything easier, and it will give you something fun too.
Yeah, with that, there are almost 8 billion people on the planet. If you can't find one other person that enjoys doing that same thing, you might need to work on your connection skills because, again, you like jumping. I can guarantee if you went on Facebook and looked it up, there's probably a group all about getting better at jumping. There's with like thousands of people in it. If you like reading and that's something you want to start doing, but you feel like a lot of people will make fun of you, great. You can find a book club anywhere. And so a big part of it with that is find that running buddy or that group that you can go with in that direction. And it doesn't have to be the same group for every one of your goals. You can find different groups to integrate yourself into that'll motivate you to keep going and that'll bounce ideas off of you.
Absolutely. You can always find someone out there that's way similar to you than you would think.
Yeah. And that is in the same situation and has the same goal. I think that's such a powerful thing because you have someone who's experiencing that with you. So it's not just you experiencing it and having to deal with it and process it internally. You've got someone doing the exact same thing, going through that exact same experience who can bounce ideas off of. And hopefully, if you use that relationship properly, you're going to be picking it up twice as fast.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that.
Now, I want to talk about in terms of your lifestyle. What do you see? Obviously, you're in school right now. Eventually, you're going to go into a career. You'll have, full-time job. Thinking down that road, what's kind of your thought about like how are you going to stay active? What's your goals for fitness, nutrition? Once you're out of school, what's your goal for like continuing to educate yourself?
Absolutely. So I'm currently in grad school as an accounting student. So once I'll be done with grad school, I'll have a job. And it's not like I love accounting, but I always, whenever I kind of see it as something that I will be able to open up my own business through this venture in the foreseeable future. And it's also something that it gives me the availability to do what I want on my free time with my being able to practice or do whatever and then not have to worry about it paying the bills for me or it being something that I have to make money out of. So that's how I kind of feel it. I'll be able to work, do my full-time job, which I don't love it, but I don't hate it. It's like something that I'm good at. It satisfies me, and then be able to once that's done, flip off and be able to do what I want, be able to be an athlete and just be an athlete and not worry about anything else.
And that's where I'm a huge advocate, obviously, of chasing your dreams, just trying to make heaven on earth for yourself, basically. But I completely agree with what you just said at the same rate of I may not love everything I'm doing, but it's setting me up for what I consider the best version of my life. And so people have to get honest about like, great, if you love doing something that you just know isn't going to afford you the lifestyle you want to live, you're going to have to sacrifice and find a middle ground of, again, I'm doing the things I have to do, and they're things I can enjoy, but they're also what's going to allow me to do what I want most.
Definitely, that's how I see it from on my in my life, like in my future. Like I know I'm gonna continue training for track after I'm done with school and just continue to be an athlete. And I know that once I'm done with I'll have a job, and once I'm done, I'll be able to go into athlete mode, and I'll have that every day where I'll be able to it, and I won't have to worry about any extra stress.
Yeah. One thing I'm very curious about because you are, again, just a very direct, driven, ambitious person who is able to flip that switch and just go with it. Are your friends similar to that? Or like, how do your friends take it when all of a sudden you're like, yep, I'm going to be on American Ninja Warrior? Yep, I'm going to be a college track athlete. Yep, I'm going to be a vegan. Do they ever run with you, or is it more like, there goes CJ?
It's like, oh, good for you. I couldn't do it, but like, good for you, like, and then they're like, we'll be one-on-one. They're like, dude, like, I wish I could just do that. And I'm just like, you could, like, if you just like really like put yourself to it, you could. It's just, I don't know. When you get in college, you get like sucked into the normalcy. Well, all my friends are in college right now, so that's just how I see it. And normally it's basically just like me on my own, just like finding the next thing I want to do and just going for it.
Now,
And I've
when you have someone who really, because you said one-on-one, they'll approach you and have that kind of spark of like, I do really want to do that. When people bring that up to you, you talked about it a little bit, but if someone really is like, hey, like I do really want to do that, I just don't think I can. What's that conversation like with someone who's a friend?
I mean, definitely just like telling them and like, dude, I was in like your spot. Like, look at me now. Like, I wasn't like some special, like, I didn't have a foot up. It's like, we were here. Like, I could get you there. I could help you if you like really wanted me to and you were really dedicated. I would totally be all over that. But you can only, I can't force them. I can't make them do it. It only goes so far.
Yeah, and that's where I ask anyone I work with, anyone who's asking me advice on something, if I'm questioning whether or not they're really devoted to doing it, my question to them is, well, are you committed or are you just interested? Because that gets a lot of people to just stop in their tracks and think, okay, am I just interested to the point where I'm going to keep trying until it's no longer convenient? Or am I committed to the point where it doesn't matter what's thrown at me, this sucker is going to get accomplished, or I'm going to do this or become this? And so that's where you have a lot of people fall off, is at the point where you ask them point blank, are you willing to get uncomfortable for this? Are you willing to do what's a little inconvenient for this? And there's a lot of people who, as soon as that gets brought to the forefront of their mind, they're like, yeah, it's not that important. Never mind.
Yeah, no, that's a great question to ask. That's a great way to look at it.
But when it comes to that, I hope everybody knows it's hard to be comfortable and be progressing and growing at the same time. I think where that progress and growth comes from is getting out of your comfort zone. And so I hope people can take out of this conversation that someone like you, the reason you're willing to flip that switch and go, I think is because you've gotten yourself to the point where you're comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're comfortable with that learning curve and kind of getting out of your norm. And if people really are serious about, yeah, I want to change, I want to grow, I want to develop, it comes with a price tag. It's not, there's a reason not everyone does it. It's not easy. And so I love that kind of took that turn with that conversation of, how serious are you?
Definitely. You need to be comfortable with yourself and like really comfortable with yourself. And it's easier said than done. Like you may think you're comfortable with yourself, but once you get to the next point when you like really push yourself, it's so much more satisfying when you go back and like look at when you push yourself out of your zone and then you became comfortable with that zone and you're like, wow, like it's really eye opening
Yeah, I
and
think it's
something you can just keep building.
yeah, and I think it's as much of an internal journey as it is an external journey. When you're going through stuff like that, like you said, you're going to find stuff out about yourself, and it may not be, oh, I'm not as athletic as I thought, or oh, I'm not as intelligent in this area as I thought. It's like, oh, snap, maybe my mindset isn't where it needs to be. Oh, maybe I'm not as self-disciplined as I thought. Oh, maybe I can't connect with people as well as I thought. And so it's a lot of the time, there's a lot of inner demons that you have to slay that you have no idea are lying in there because they're dormant. They have no reason to act up. And so when you push yourself to those new levels, those demons are popping up.
Yeah, and definitely, and even if it doesn't end up working out, like maybe you fail at what goal you're looking forward to, or maybe you couldn't get a full 2 weeks eating the same healthy, you'll be satisfied knowing if you tried and tried your hardest. I would say when I decided to try out for the track team, we practiced with a team for like a couple months, and then we have tryouts. I actually got hurt before tryouts, and I wasn't able to try out for the team. But that didn't. And then a month later, we were getting our rosters to see if we made the team or not. And since I couldn't try out, I assumed I didn't make it. But I was satisfied with the fact that, like, okay, I gave it my best. It didn't work out. I had accepted that I ended up making the team. I didn't think I was going to, but either way, I accepted the fact that like I gave it my all, and like I didn't think I was gonna make it, but I was satisfied with my experience of really like putting myself out there, and it ended up working out. But even if I wouldn't have made the team, it still would have been successful.
So there's something really powerful in here that I want to extract from what you said. And it's when you fail, how fast are you able to come back and just keep attacking? So what happens is I think oftentimes someone, they have the belief, they have the confidence, they're working hard at something, and then boom, they fail and they're so upset and like blindsided by the failure that they tend to wallow in it a little longer than they should. And when you have the ability to hit that wall of failure and just pop back up and keep going, I think that's almost a superpower in terms of self-development because you don't you don't waste that time. And that's not to say you neglect the emotions that come with failure. Yeah, if you fail, like it's not a fun thing, but putting it into perspective, dealing with those emotions, learning from that experience and continuing on. Again, I think there's something really powerful in that.
Thanks, man. I would just say I know that the day that we found out that if I was gonna make the team or not, I went to the ninja gym and I was there for like 3 hours waiting, like checking my phone because I was like, you know what, I don't check it. If I don't make the team, I'll be at the gym. I can just like keep working out. It will be my next thing that I'm gonna go on to. I won't have to worry about it. And so I think that I guess that's just how I am. And I don't know what else to say about that, I guess.
That is a good way to be, brother. All right. So I finish up every one of these with two questions. But before that, where can people, especially just time out, anyone who's trying to learn about dunking, follow this guy on social media because he's posting dunk videos left and right. And I can't dunk, but I love watching people who can. So it's really fun. But where can people, if they want to connect with you, whether it's they have questions about college sports or they have questions about how do I get to that point where I can flip the switch, where can people connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. All of my any of my social media, um, any way that you really want to be able to reach out to me, you can. I know my Instagram is PFEIL_fitness. That's my fitness account. That's kind of what's brought Trevor. That's got me. I post my ninja stuff. I post my dunk stuff on there. I don't know. That's kind of just like a good like source of like I see that as like the good side of social media. I'll like be on my personal account and I'll just see stuff and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to my fitness account and like see people like doing good and like there's no extra stuff in there. It's just all people being athletes, competing, learning stuff. So reach out to me on there or any way you want.
Yeah. So now that you mentioned that, before I ask two questions, I have a really good point piggybacking off what you just said. Social media can be such a powerful tool if you use it the right way. Unfortunately, it is a very dangerous weapon for a lot of people because it's a game of comparison that you are always going to lose. There is always going to be someone who has a cooler picture or took a cooler trip or has better washboard abs or bigger arms or a nicer,
Yeah.
you name it. And so again, follow accounts that are going to teach you something, make you feel good, inspire you. And if you can do that and extract the positive lessons and aspects of social media accounts, it goes a long way. So I'm really glad you mentioned that because I would never have thought to say that.
Yeah, I always see social media is exactly what you make out of it. If you don't like social media, that's because you're following the wrong accounts. Like if you see it as negative, you're following the wrong. You control what you follow. You control the information that you see, and that's kind of like why I made the fitness account. It's like I almost just like it's like a flipping a switch on social media. It's like I'm on my personal account, blah blah blah, see stuff, what you're talking about, and then I go to my fitness account, and it's just like don't see any junk. It's just like all like people like competing. Oh, this person's doing this. This you find people just like you, so you can. I talk to them about my goals like on social media. Like I see it as like a really positive and like learning part of my day when I go onto my fitness account. I talk to other people going through my situation, talk to other people shooting the same goals as me, and all I see is good learning material on it. I don't see it. I almost don't even see it as social media. I see it as like a good part, good information, good thing of my day.
Yeah, a tool for learning. I think that's huge. Anyone
Absolutely.
listening, take advantage of that advice. If you're not following any accounts that have something to do with what you're trying to learn or what you're trying to do, get on it because that is a surefire way to get that right in front of your face. All right, my favorite part, the last two questions. So, question one, what is the biggest obstacle right now between you and your best self?
Ooh. Um, Probably just overall time management. I know I use my time well, but I almost put too much of it into myself and not enough of it into my connections I make with people and overall just being positive within almost seeing everything as like I have to do this and instead of making other things feel less. I don't know how to really describe that,
Yeah, no, I
but
think that makes perfect sense. And I really like there's a monk philosophy that says you should spend 50% of your time in self-care and 50% of your time in service. Because if you spend, assuming everyone's got, let's say, a metaphorical bucket on their head, you need to be able to fill up your bucket so that you can fill up others. But if you're just constantly filling up your bucket, you're wasting a lot of that water because it's pouring over. And if you're constantly filling up other buckets, all you're doing is moving an empty bucket over their bucket that, and so I think it's important to have that two sides to the coin of I want to fill up my bucket. I want to be the best person I can be, but then I want to share that with the people who I love, who I care about, who are in my community. So I love that
I
point.
would
I think that's awesome.
I would definitely agree with that. That would be my answer right there. Yeah.
All right. And then
Perfect.
the last one is what is one challenge that you have for the listeners that when they do it, it'll improve their life?
um I would say just do set a goal 21 days and challenge yourself to it, whatever it be with fitness or food. I don't know. Those are just the two things that like I'm immersed in. I'm sure there's plenty of other ways that you could look at something. Give yourself 21 days, give yourself an honest assessment and really go for it. And whether it works out or doesn't work out, feel good about it. Feel good about yourself for giving the effort. Feel good about yourself for making the decision to make the goal. Give yourself the respect. Self-discipline is the ultimate sign of self-respect. So give yourself that uplift. Whether it works out at the end or not, it can still be successful.
That is an awesome one, and I will definitely be doing that. So I'll send you my 21-day challenge for myself as
Perfect.
well.
Perfect.
All right. So that is just about it. CJ, I want to thank you not only for coming on, taking the time to talk about again your knowledge, your experience, your insights, and just being vulnerable and talking about your journey. But also, I want to thank you for setting an example for people. Again, you just have this simplicity of, I know what I want. I know it's not going to help me get there. I'm willing to get rid of it. And when you fail, you don't allow yourself to get brought down by that. And so I just want to thank you for setting that example for people. And I hope people who are listening can understand, again, just the biggest takeaway is it may not be easy, but it is simple. And so I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate everything you're doing right now. I wish you the best of luck with track. I wish you the best with Ninja Warrior, all the other stuff as well. So thanks, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for bringing me on. I feel like learned about myself. Definitely enjoyed our conversation we had. It was good. Glad we did this for sure.
All right, man. I will catch you sometime soon, maybe at the Ninja Gym.
Probably.
All right. Take it easy.